Here we are with probability today, another statistics topic. We will have a second lesson on this another time, but right now, just the basics of probability. So you can see that probability is the likelihood of an event happening. And all probabilities range from 0 to 1. You can write them as a fraction, as a decimal, or as a percent. Now, if a probability is 0, that means it is impossible for that event to happen, or it's definitely not going to happen. That's like rolling a die, a single number cube, and getting a 7. That probability is 0. Now, a probability of 1 means it definitely will happen. That'd be like rolling a single die. When I'm talking about a single die, we've rolled, when there are two of them, we call them dice. If it's a single, it's referred to as a die. What I'm talking about here is a picture of one right there. Okay, so if I said the probability of rolling one of those one time and getting a number less than 7, that would be probability of 1. It's going to happen. The numbers 1 through 6. Okay, probability is 1/2 for an even chance, like flipping a coin. Whether it's heads or tails, it's 50-50 chance. So that's all probability is, just a number between 0 and 1. The closer it is to 1, the more likely it will happen. Like a probability of 0.9. That event is a lot more likely to happen than a probability of 0.1. So here are some questions. You can think about them as I answer them. Now, this isn't really finding probability. This is still understanding what it means. On the back of the notes here, we will actually find some probabilities. Okay, so stay with me. In fact, don't bail out of this video too soon, because I'm going to show you some things on the assignment that I think you will find helpful that don't really show up in the notes. Okay, so here we have Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, will visit the College of William and Mary tomorrow. Well, Thomas Jefferson died a long time ago, so I would say that's impossible. You will ride the bus home from school today. Now, everyone's answer is different. If someone's in school, well, they say, well, yeah, I'm riding the bus home. That would be a 1, or maybe it's likely, or a 50-50. But this is just the meaning of probability, okay? School will be canceled tomorrow due to bad weather. I would not say impossible. Who knows? We might get a thunderstorm, flooding. Now, it's unlikely, but I wouldn't say impossible. If you roll a standard die, this one I already talked about, it will show a number less than 7. That is certain. If you flip a fair coin, you will get tails. Well, that's an even chance. So that's kind of the idea of probability. But we write our answers as a number, everyone, a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. Now, sometimes we will see probability with a capital P in parentheses. That does not mean multiplication. We'll see that at the bottom of the notes. Okay, so here we go. A little bit more vocabulary. A favorable outcome is what we're looking for. So in order to find that probability, we divide, but you don't really have to divide. Okay, you can just write it as a fraction. You would divide if you want your answer to be a percent or a decimal. So first of all, you always need to know what your total number of outcomes are. If you're going to flip a coin, there are 2 possible outcomes. They are heads or tails. So what's the probability of a coin landing on tails? Well, 1 tails out of 2, the 2 possible things that can happen. The probability of the coin not landing on tails is the same as it is for landing on tails. That's called the complement of an event not happening. That's about all there is to talk about with a coin, everyone. It's a probability of 1/2 for either heads or tails. Now, every probability paper I've ever seen always seems to have a problem with a bag of marbles for some reason. So you can see over here, it's more visual. It's not really given to us in writing. So what are the possible outcomes? In other words, how many marbles are there? How many different things can happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 marbles. Okay, so as we go ahead and try to find the probability, and again, what they want in these spaces were black, white, or striped, but it is 10 possible outcomes, okay? So this means, what is the probability of pulling a striped marble? So it's sometimes written like this, not in words. Well, probability of striped, well, you count. There are 3 striped. There are 10 total. The probability is 3 out of 10. The black marble, probability of selecting a black marble, there is only 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 chance. The probability of it being not a white marble, well, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the marbles are not white. So that would be 4 out of 10, and very often these are simplified. The probability of a polka dot marble, there aren't any. That would be 0 out of 10. That is not going to happen. Okay? So normally this information, in this, as you see in this picture, will be given in words. It would say there's a bag of marbles. It contains 6 white marbles. So I could change this to 6 white. We'll scratch out the 10 for a second here. It might be written as, it's just the different ways that it appears, 1 black, 3 striped. And the first thing you're going to do is add these numbers up to get that 10 that I first wrote. That's your denominator. Okay, so stick around for another second. I'll show you the assignment. So you're going to have a spinner. First thing you want to do is count the spaces. See, that's your first question. How many pieces are there? So if we start here on the black piece of the spinner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you'll put a 7 here. That's going to be your denominator for all of those. Same. There are 6 things that can happen when you roll a single die. So your denominators will be 6. That's always your total number of outcomes. On this section, count all of these little, I guess it's, how many students had birthdays on that day of the week. Count them. That's your total. That will be your denominator. So the probability of a Sunday, well, here's Sunday. 1, 2, 3. That's your numerator out of total, which you'll need to count. And finally, we have 2 sections back here. Oh, look, a bag of marbles. Now, here it tells you the total is 18. That's your denominator. Now, you don't have to add these up. So again, another spinner. There are 10 spaces. And the reason some of these numbers are written outside the spinner is they're kind of hard to see if I don't do that. So count the total spaces. Well, it's actually that 10. Put it here. And here are your problems. What's the probability of spinning a 12? Well, there is no 12 on the spinner, so that's how you'll go through these. Do your best. If you have any questions, let me know.